What's up, and welcome to episode 182 of Throwback Hoops. My name is Rob Clayton, and I'm joined as always by my main man, Woody V. What's happening, brother?
It's been a good week, man. I had Monday off work today after the Pavlos tournament last night. So yeah, it's really enjoyable. Good to be here with you.
Nice. Looking forward to talking a little bit about that tournament. So we'll do that after the formalities of the jerseys and everything like that. But before we get into those jerseys, Woods, just a reminder for everyone to please make sure you like, rate, and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. We really appreciate everyone's support. And let's get into it, Woods. You're wearing a jersey. I don't think I can pick that one. It's not one I've seen you
Let me tell you something.
Right?
Before I talk about this jersey, obviously with the European tournament on, I had a few to select from, right, to wear. I wanted to wear a European player's jersey. I wore a Detlef Schrempf jersey yesterday, right?
Nice.
And I found this one, right? And I swear to God, Champions stopped making jerseys in the early 2000s, right? And for the last couple of years, their jerseys were small, medium, and large. They weren't 42,
they weren't the
44,
number ones,
46.
Yeah.
So this is one of the last ever champion jerseys made.
Nice.
So
Woods are standing up rocking the Toronto Raptors number 8 Jose Calderon jersey. Now, I feel like I know most of your jerseys. I don't think I knew you had that one, and I definitely approve. That's a really nice one.
I didn't even remember it, as I was going through and find
the material looks good on it too,
yeah,
right? Is
really
it kind of heavy? Is that heavy material?
It's heavy, and it's got the numbers, It's just better quality than the original champion ones that would really fray in the wash. And
they don't last well.
Yeah, a little bit on Jose Manuel Calderon Baralo. He was born in Spain. He's a 6'2" guard. Went undrafted in 2003. He's currently a basketball executive who is a special advisor for the Cleveland Cavaliers in the NBA. He played professionally for 21 years, including 14 seasons in the NBA specifically, primarily with the Toronto Raptors, with whom he set the record for the highest free throw percentage in a season, 98.1% in 2008-9. I think it was 151 from 154, if I'm not mistaken, Robbie.
That's crazy.
And with the Spain national team, he won the FIBA World Cup title in 2006, 2 Olympic silver medals in 2008 and 12, as well as a bronze medal at the 2016 Olympics. He also won a Eurobasket title in 2011 and 2 silver medals in 2003 and 7, as well as a bronze in 2013. Calderon earned all Eurobasket team selection in 2007. And apart from all of that, he does have a passion for ham, right?
That's true. Shout out to the Basketball Jones / whatever they're called these days. Yeah, no dunks. Quick one on that. Who else did he play for in the NBA? I seem to remember him playing for Detroit.
So Toronto, Detroit, Dallas, New York, Los Angeles Lakers, our Hawks, and then finished off with the Cleveland Cavaliers and Detroit Pistons in 2019.
I remember a lot of him in the Hawks. That was one season, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, so he bounced around a little bit at the end. But yeah, you're probably right. He'll be remembered as a Raptor, won't he? That's where he started. And it always seemed fitting when you had these international players playing for Toronto, which is, given it's an international team compared to all the other NBA teams there. And I'm sure a lot of those Euro guys would like playing in Toronto too, with that sort of the way the city is and everything like that. So no, that's a cool one.
And I know we talked last week about Dennis Schroeder, and his potential of becoming a Hall of Famer, right? You look at that resume that Jose Calderon has developed. That is quite extensive, so he might be someone that you'd put in that conversation.
I was actually thinking when you were reading out some of those Euro accolades and that, he must be someone that's going to be eventually there. So no, very cool. I like that. I'll definitely pay that one. Nice looking jersey too, I've got to say. And really the Hawks hat, gotta love that. But yeah, no, definitely cool looking jersey. And yeah, like you said, the champion ones did change. They went through a bit of a shocking era where all the sizes were out of whack, and I think at one stage, and I looked through mine, they were being made in like 4 different countries there, and quality control wasn't as good in some of them as others there. So but no, I like that one. So right, I'll stand up and show you the one I'm rocking today. It's a current jersey, Woods. It's one that I didn't get that long ago. And it's a current player, so I'm not going to do the full recap of this guy, but it's a really nice jersey, and I know you're going to like this one.
Yep. For those who can't see, Robbie's wearing the white Atlanta Dyson Daniels jersey. Awesome. And big fan of that specific jersey as well. The white.
It's a beauty. I was actually looking at that. I feel like I've got a lot of the Red Hawks ones, but really like this colour combination. You've got the yellow kind of pops on it on the number and everything else like that. But yeah, this is one I wanted to get as soon as he got traded to Atlanta, and ended up just waiting a little while and got it. I think you don't have one yet either, do you?
No, I don't. Yeah.
That's got to be high up on your list when you
I think I'm going to get a city one, this year. Daniels.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So yeah, so it's a Dyson Daniels Nike white Atlanta Hawks jersey. Last season's most improved player. Yeah, really looking forward to see how he goes about it this year. They've obviously strengthened their team a little bit, but I don't think that's going maybe impact his role that much. They have added guys like Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Luke Kennard who might play, 2, 3 sort of roles there. But look, Dyson Daniels is definitely the starter on this team, and I think they're going to be expecting more out of him. He's someone that's he's a gym rat, he's a coachable guy, so I don't think he's going to be someone that is happy getting an MIP award and then just kind of resting there. I think probably shooting is the next thing, just to get that consistent sort of shooting there. And I think someone like him and my boy Jalen Johnson, they're probably guys that need to continue to work on that shot and just be that real outside threat there. But he's shown some improvement there. But what are your expectations for Mr. Daniels coming into the season?
I mean, the sky is the limit. I said that Atlanta are going to come close to 50 games. That was my bold prediction, winning 50 games this year. And they're going to need him to just keep developing and moving that ascension forward like he showed last year. And there's another Daniels on the way as well, right?
Absolutely. It didn't look too bad in the first games on the weekend there, and in Dash Daniels there. So, yeah, it's a pretty cool jersey. I'm going away, in about 6 weeks or something now, and I always sort of think ahead of which jerseys I want to take to go overseas. I'm definitely taking this one. I'll be rocking this one. Cool colours, repping the Aussie, all that sort of stuff like that. So, all right, well, I've got a pretty cool card of the week as well, Wood. So, this is one... Remarkably enough, I collect the PSA rookie cards of a lot of players. I got 2 of these PSA rookie cards, I'd say maybe 6 months ago, long before these guys ended up becoming NBL imports. So the one I'm going to show today, I'll keep the other one a bit of a secret for next time, but I've got a 2021 Donruss Optic David Johnson rookie autograph PSA 9 card. An absolute beauty of a cardboard. So have a look at that one. So those autograph PSA ones are good. Just, for a context, if this was, like, let's just say, for example, Anthony Edwards, and it was an autograph PSA rookie, it would be worth, a lot of money. So this one actually wasn't that expensive. Geez, reminds me of CJ McCollum to look at. He really does, doesn't he? Yeah.
Telling Mookie that yesterday.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny when I got this card, and then when I heard Toronto sign it, I'm like, hang on, David Johnson, is that the one that I've got in that auto card there? So pretty nice card there. So just a little bit quickly on David Johnson there for those that don't know about him. So he was drafted out of Louisville at pick 47 in the 2021 NBA draft by Toronto, where he played 2 games. So he only had the 2 games there, played a bit of G League, but look, he's come over to the NBL, and I'm really impressed with what he's giving so far. Really good shooter there. I know you watched a lot of him in the Blitz, and I'm assuming you probably saw his 2 games this round. What's your thoughts on him so far?
Just a Swiss Army knife. Can do a little bit of everything. He's a good rebounder from the guard position. Willing to play defense. If he needs to score, he can score. I think he started off really strong and had 20 points in the first half of that first game, right?
Yeah.
In the second half, he wasn't needed to do that. He needed to do other things, and he just fitted into whatever role the team needed him to. So I'm really impressed with DJ.
Mate, they've recruited pretty well with their imports. Tasmanians. Sure. We'll touch a little bit on later, but yeah, I thought this was a nice one. I always love the auto ones. The PSA 9, so pretty high rating on that one, but. Yeah, shout out to David Johnson.
Shout out to him. Really looking forward to seeing him for the rest of the season as well.
Absolutely. Well, I feel like we say this every week, Woods, but there's a lot to talk about. Probably even more so now that the NBL has actually kicked off, and the time of recording, it's Monday, the 22nd of September. So, a bit to talk about on. Before we go into a little bit of a quick hit, so I'm going to throw it to you. I know you went to the Pavlos. How do you say it?
Giannakopoulos tournament.
Okay, that sounds good. Better than I would have done. I know you went to that yesterday. Watched both games. Look, before you get into it, I know I kind of made a few jokes about this tournament. It wasn't sort of. I was worried about the quality. It was more just I couldn't believe how many ads were coming out. Literally 50% off. Buy one get one free. Buy 2 get 2 free. And all these sort of things like that. It's like they were really trying to give the tickets away in the end. But give me your perspective. How was the day for you yesterday?
Well, first of all, Foxy sent me a text this morning and he said Robbie missed out. It was such a good day because it was, right. And there was about, as I said, about 13,000 people. Give or take, I'd say somewhere between 10 and 15, right? You could see that the free tickets were because all the areas up top were opened up and people were sitting in the bleachers. Just the quality of basketball was terrific, right?
Yeah.
Both games were played at a really high standard. I know you did watch the Kings game. I was actually impressed to see the Kings in their first run out and the Adelaide 36ers. Seeing Bryce Cotton live for the first time in a uniform that wasn't a Perth uniform was weird, but he put on a show for us, and I think the crowd was extremely knowledgeable, right? They were not just cheering for everything. They were all, they were patriotic, about European basketball.
So I'm assuming like a lot of Serbians would have been there for the
absolutely.
First game and that sort of stuff. A lot of Serbian flags and all those sort of things, I'm guessing. Like
absolutely,
any flares let off in the...
Nothing. That's what
they would have been checking people going in for that.
Very
big time,
quiet crowd. I thought it'd be a bit more boisterous and people would be yelling in the stands with flags and stuff like it. When Serbia was playing in the World Champs, it was a raucous crowd. But no, it was very quiet but knowledgeable crowd. And I had some great conversations with people sitting next to me in the crowd about the game.
Nice.
So
did you have your normal season tickets for the Kings, or was it a different seat?
No, had to pay for it. Separate seats. Yeah.
Nice seats though.
Yeah, nice seats. Shout out to Jimmy and Gordon, 2 friends of mine from the Kings Faithful, who joined me, and Mookie as well. So the 4 of us had a great time together.
Shout out to those guys. Give me a player from each of the European teams that impressed you. Maybe like someone that
Kendrick
I know.
Nunn, for sure. I mean, something about what he brings to the table was great. By all reports, he stayed back afterwards and signed autographs for everyone. And seeing Bo Cruz there was good. You know what I mean? Like people in the crowd were like yelling at Bo Cruz when he was taking shots. And
do you reckon he's down with that? Is he cool with people calling him that or what?
Yeah, I think he'd be cool with it, man. He's like in popular culture now, right? Yeah.
So it's Herman Gomez, for people that don't know, obviously was Bo Cruz in that great movie. What was the movie called? I'm blanking on the name.
I'm just having a blank too. Yeah.
Adam Sandler, look it up. I'm sure you've seen it, but yeah. No, cool. All right. And what was Jabari Parker like? So he was
Jabari Parker as well, man. Sad to see that he just faded out of the league.
Brown,
right?
those sort of guys. Like,
Hustle, right? Yep.
That's right. I think I'm due for a rewatch of that. I know I watched it as soon as it came out. Really enjoyed it. So for those that haven't seen Hustle, you get to see a bit of Bo Cruz, some Adam Sandler, and a lot of Anthony Edwards, and it's a fun movie. So, all right, I appreciate your little day trip outing. I'm sure you'll be at the Kings' first home game against your second favourite team this weekend, right?
And on Sunday. And just for those who don't know, Kings lost just by 3 points, and were leading for most of the game. But just
talk to me about that last play. What was going on? They gave up. They missed a couple of threes, and Jalen Galloway, who was on fire the whole game, had a wide open three and passed it off to Bull Quall to take another. To Kwat Noy to take another one. But
I mean, this is learning, right? The next time if he gets that shot, he's going to take it, right? And I was pretty impressed with Kings. Tim Suarez playing 30 minutes and Hunter Goodrich backing him up was actually something that Hunter was good. Nice. All right, good stuff. Well, let's get into some more quick hits. Appreciate your little recap of yesterday's games. I'm sure you enjoyed that. Thought we'd start off with some NBA today, Woods. Look, at the time of recording, we're basically a month away from the season starting, so we're certainly going to be ramping up our NBA topics and content over the next few weeks there. But a couple of quick hits that I wanted to ask you about. So the first one is former Rookie of the Year Malcolm Brogdon signing on with New York, the veteran there who seems to have changed teams a bit these last few seasons. But I thought that was a pretty good move there. I don't know if it's guaranteed at this point, but I think a steady, veteran influence to play alongside Jalen Brunson and the erratic Jordan Clarkson there. But how did you see that move for New York? I think it's a great move. He's only a few seasons removed from being the 6th man of the year, right? It's not like his best form is that far off, right?
Yeah.
So bringing him in is a low risk move. The only thing is his injury history, right? Is he going to be able to stay healthy and contribute? That's always been the knock on Brogdon over the last few years.
Yeah.
But once that whole Ben Simmons thing fell through, they need that void there to backup point guard.
Yeah, I think that's someone that's a bit well suited. Who does he sound exactly like as well? For those that don't know, Malcolm Brogdon,
the former U.S. Prime Minister.
President
Barack Obama.
Like it's literally an identical voice if you've ever heard it talk. It's actually quite funny. So no, I thought that was good. Look, obviously there's the injury sort of risk there, but I don't think there's any risk in terms of a player and someone that's going to fit in and be a good teammate there. So I thought that was pretty cool there. The next one I'll ask you about, kind of a strange one, not really a household name, but obviously for Hawks homers like us, it was a pretty strange sort of move. I think is the best way to describe it. And that was Kobe Bufkin. So the Hawks. First round pick 15, pick 2 years ago with the Hawks, was traded to Brooklyn for a player named Cash Considerations. Now, not sure if Cash Considerations is a good player or not, but thought that was a bit of a strange move there, Woods. A little bit of context before I get your opinion on that one. So, Juwan Howard is an assistant coach with the Brooklyn Nets. He actually coached Bufkin when Howard was at Michigan, so that's kind of the way he got him on there. Apparently, by all accounts, he's really high on Bufkin, wants to give him a good chance there, and has basically said he's going to play a big role on that team, which is pretty interesting. But for the Hawks, I mean, he just couldn't escape the injury bug. He played 27 games in his 2 seasons with the Hawks. Disappointingly for me, though, he's finally healthy now. Had a great summer league, really led the team well and looked good, and then they traded him away for this guy called Cash Consideration. So what was your take on this one?
My only thinking is his management talked to the Atlanta Hawks team and they said, look, we cannot really guarantee him much playing time this year. His development is going to be, and then they asked for a mutually beneficial trade that would suit Atlanta. That's the only thing I can think of, man, right? Because they just given up on him.
And what do you think with the Hawks? Do you think someone like Keaton Wallace might have played a little part in their move as well? Yeah. Keaton Wallace, for those that don't know, the brother of OKC championship winner Cason Wallace, he can ball, right? He's also got some amazing hair. But, man, this guy came and started a game that Trey missed last year and scored 27 points. So Keaton Wallace is an absolute gun. I think this really frees up a few more minutes for him to get those minutes. They've also got Nikola Jurisic as well, who was a rookie last season, didn't get a go. He's a big point guard out of Europe there. So, yeah, I think maybe that's the move for me. Maybe they decided, look, they're going to keep Wallace. They are under the cap, which is kind of good for the Hawks. And maybe for someone like Kobe Bufkin, a fresh start, gets to play, alongside his former coach and Juwan Howard, who's got a lot of trust in him there. And I'm sure you'd agree. We both wish him all the best in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to watching Brooklyn this season though.
Yeah, true. I don't think I'll be watching. They got rid of your mate too, the English guy, the one you really liked, right?
Tosana Iboma.
Yeah, he's actually signed, I think, with New York. So he averaged like 10 points a game for Brooklyn last year. So that seemed like a strange
Awesome, man.
move.
I like him.
I know you're a fan of him. So good luck with him. He doesn't get to move too far to play in New York there.
Yeah.
And the other one that basically came out a couple of days ago, Woods, this is pretty big implications for Miami, the team that a lot of people think that I hate on all the time. But Tyler Herro, All-Star last year, out 8 weeks after ankle surgery. So this is not what you want to hear a month outside from the season starting, right? Big blow to Miami. First thing I thought of was, geez, I bet they're glad they got Norm Powell now, so that really frees up some minutes for him. But your thoughts on that situation for the Heat?
Ankles are always difficult to come back from, especially surgery on that ankle, right? So it's not something you want to rush back. They're going to be a middling team this year, Miami. What are they going to do? They might just, make the playoffs and get a first-round exit. That kind of space they're in at the moment, right?
I thought you were a bit of a Miami stan, so you're not high on them this year.
Not as high, man. And I just look at that roster. Anyway. I'm sure we'll break that down.
Yeah,
we'll do our predictions in the
big
future.
Big news though. Anyway, so for those that are doing fantasy drafts in the next week or two, I'd probably steer clear of Tyler Herro unless you can get him after a few rounds and stash him on your bench there. But and the last one we're talking some NBA sort of current moves and stuff. So Jonathan Kuminga, another guy I know that you're quite a big fan of there. So this saga continues with Golden State. Still remains unsigned. Not that I want to plug a lot of other podcasts, but we do like the Hoop Collective there with Brian Windhorst. They had Jonathan Kuminga's agent on about 4 days ago. Not sure if you've heard that one yet.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Really, really interesting, right? I think the agent said a few things that I don't know the Golden State would have been thrilled about. I was sort of listening to it like, oh, did he just say that there? But yeah, they still can't get a deal done there. There's not a lot of other teams with salary cap space, but it's looking like he may even end up just with the qualifying 1 year offer because he has turned down a pretty 3-year, $80 million sort of contract there. And look, for those that don't know, Kuminga was averaging 15 plus points last year before the Jimmy Butler trade, and when Butler came in, it really changed his sort of position on the team there. But what do you think Golden State should do? Should they try and get rid of him and get something back, or I think there must be something going on with him and Steve Kerr, right?
Yeah, well, we know that's happening. That was in the media last year, right? But you're right. He's now preparing to accept that $7.9 million qualifying offer, unless the Warriors improve that soon.
Yeah.
It'd be bad news for Golden State because that qualifying offer you mentioned, it's a 1 year deal with a built-in no trade clause, right? So if he signs it, they're stuck with him for the year. And the deadline for restricted free agency, you mentioned they need to make a decision soon. The deadline for restricted free agency negotiations is October 1, right?
Yeah, I thought that was just over a week left.
And as we get closer to that date, it's become increasingly obvious that Kuminga will accept that qualifying offer, as I just mentioned, and play one last year in Golden State and find his new home like next summer, right?
And what would his mentality be going into a season like that when you've wanted this money, you've put up some pretty good numbers and you're not getting it? I don't think you're going to be totally motivated there, but maybe it's a situation that I think they've probably tried to trade him. It just doesn't seem like there's a market at the moment. A lot of teams are over the salary cap there. They've made their moves already, but it's a strange one, right? I think we're still waiting to hear if they're signing Al Horford. That still doesn't seem to be signed. Very strange. A month outside of the season, we're seeing decent veteran players like Russell Westbrook and Al Horford and these sort of guys and Ben Simmons that still haven't found a team. So I think we'll sort of watch this space with that one. But yeah, I thought we'd mention that. All right, Woods, I wanted to ask you, with the season so far out, so close now, a month away, maybe each episode up until then, we'll do some sort of burning issues, right? So we'll talk about a couple of teams, one team each, and talk about a few little topics and everything else like that. So I know you mentioned you wanted to talk about the Charlotte Hornets there. So give me some sort of burning questions and sort of your feel on the Charlotte Hornets this year.
Sure, Robbie. Well, first, before I do that, I've just brought up a little slide there. Can you see that? All right, so I've got the Charlotte Hornets depth chart.
You've come with props. I like it. That's good.
So we've got LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges, Mason Plumlee, and I think Colin Sexton might join that starting group in the offseason. The big acquisitions are Spencer Dinwiddie, Colin Sexton. They've got Antonio Reeves, Pat Connaughton.
Why are they only starting with 4 players though? Surely that's going to give the other team an advantage.
Right? I think so one of those guys. I think you look at Brandon Miller probably played the small forward position, and I think Colin Sexton might start at shooting guard, right?
Yeah.
But the burning questions for the Charlotte Hornets going into this season, right? There was 3 that I came up with. The first one was will LaMelo Ball take the next step, right? And so I want to get your thoughts on this. Like, for years now, he's been like the face of this Hornets franchise. And look, he's got great potential. We know he's 6'7". He's a great playmaker. You know, he's got great handles. He can shoot the ball from outside of the car park. And like the way he plays is very conducive to fans enjoying. It's very fun on the eye to watch him play. Let's say, right?
Hey, before I answer this question, Woods, is that actually a real NBA roster that we're looking at there? Like that's a legit NBA roster that's going to, man, that's I know you like the Charlotte Hornets, but I'm a little bit concerned looking at that lineup there. That is pretty ordinary, isn't
Definitely.
it?
Right?
Yeah, sorry. Like I know you were talking about LaMelo and everything else like that. I think this is a huge year for him this year. He's someone that how many years has he played now?
Okay, yeah. So I was about to say that. Yeah, so I was saying his street ball style is like great to watch and whatnot, and he's a crowd pleaser, but he needs to be difference maker. His shot selection and his shooting touch isn't where it should be. 430 career field goal percentage, and more seasons shooting below 36% from three than there isn't, right? So he's shooting below 36 most of the time from threes, right? Up to this point, his immaturity has been excused by his age, but Ball is approaching his 6th NBA season, Robbie, to answer your question.
Yeah.
Now that he's achieved veteran status, it's time for him to start playing like one. That is my thing, right?
No, look, I definitely agree. 6th season, he's still someone that I don't know that his style is conducive to a winning team. And look, it's been hard. Obviously, you get drafted by that team, and they've never put amazing players around him. They've been a team that's just been a real struggling team, haven't they, for quite some time now. But look, health is the main thing, isn't it? We know when he's healthy, despite whether you love his style or you don't like, or you do like it, he puts up numbers. He definitely contributes on the court. Maybe not always in the win column there, but I don't know whether he's just got bad luck with injuries there, whether he doesn't have that ability to play through, pain and play through some of these injuries. Also, he gets these injuries late in the year. The team's already, 30 games below 500, so they sit him out and try and keep his health there. But I really think this is a make or break season, and they may have to make some sort of move and look at blowing the whole, LaMelo Ball experience up if it doesn't work this year. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, right? As you said, 6 years. I know it's not a great roster, but that starting lineup, you look at that, right? They've still got a decent starting five there, right? Mason Plumlee starting at center. Musa Diabite and Grant Williams. That's a bit of a concern, right? In the front court there.
Yeah, no, I think it's a big year for him, isn't it? It'll be interesting to see, how he goes, I guess.
Yep. Cool. And the next burning question, thanks, Robbie, for your thoughts there. The next burning question, year 3, Brandon Miller. Nearly as important ball development is that of the former 2023 number 2 pick. Look, he's a skilled, versatile combo forward. He's 6'9", Robbie. He was averaging career highs of, listen to this, 21 points, 4.9 rebounds, and 3.6 assists to go with 1.1 steal and 0.7 blocks per game in 24-25. That's impressive, right?
We're both high on this guy. There's no doubt about that.
Totally. All of that being said, right, Miller obviously needs to get back to making shots consistently for Hornets to reach their ceiling, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I think another big year, like we said in the same sort of vein as LaMelo Ball there. And the same thing again, he got injured last season. Was that a seasoning injury? Did they decide to sort of rest their young commodity there? But there's no doubt this guy's got all the tools. Like you mentioned, the size he's got. He's a good wing player. He can play a couple of positions there. And he's a great shooter. That's probably what he's known for, getting drafted by the Hornets there. So, yeah, look, I think it's going to be a big season for him. And I think he's going to deliver, Woods. I really do. I think he's someone that I think he's maybe a future all-star if he can stay healthy and continue to put up these sort of numbers. But yeah, when healthy last year, he was great, right? And I don't know. Do you think him and LaMelo are a good fit together? Maybe that's the big question there.
We've got to get to see them playing together for an extended period of time. More importantly, and that's it. People are divided on Brandon Miller. Is he a future all-star? A lot of experts are like, no, he's probably just a solid starter in the NBA. Others are like, he could become an all-star. So let's see how that plays out, right?
I used the Tyler Herro test for that. Who would have thought, a couple of years ago, Tyler Herro would have had that all-star game on his resume. He's got it now. So why not Brandon Miller, right?
Totally. Agreed. And finally, can they make the playoffs?
No.
No. Absolutely not. No. But I do think that with some of those acquisitions, I mean, they've got Sexton, but they've drafted Knappel, right? They've also added Liam McNeely, I think it was, who's a top 10 high school recruit in 2024 ESPN 100 via the 2025 NBA draft. So they've got a few rookies there that have come in. But yeah, I'm going to agree with you. The answer is no.
Yeah, I don't mind some of the the veteran guards they attained as well. Like Colin Sexton and Spencer Dinwiddie are pretty solid players, right? As long as you're not relying on those guys to be starters. If you're talking your 6th, 7th, and 8th guys, those guys can play, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They're
Pat
pretty
Connaughton
decent
as well, veteran.
Yeah, exactly. He's sort of still decent. So yeah, look, I know it's going to be a league pass favourite team for you, Woods, and you know, give me a wins total if you had to predict it right now. Do they get over 20 wins with this roster?
Probably just over, maybe, right?
Yeah,
Somewhere
I was
between
thinking the
20 and
same,
30.
maybe very early 20s. Yeah.
Quickly, Josh Green, man, this is a real important season for him, right? I mean,
Yeah.
he's almost disappeared, and his development has been stunted a little bit in the last couple of years, I feel, right? So
Another guy we had high hopes on him just after that Olympic campaign, and you know he's not able to stay healthy and not contributing. It was a shame to see him traded. Like I liked the fit with him on Dallas, right? He played in that finals, then he gets, you know, basically traded to Siberia with the Hornets there. So yeah, agreed, a big year for him, and I really hope he can stay healthy and put a good season together because we know he's got a lot of potential there, right?
yeah, for sure, man.
Nice.
Wish him all the best. And guess what? Also, okay, you go.
I appreciate that, Woods. Well, yeah, good. So I've picked a team very different, sort of, you know, end of the scale for you. So I've picked the LA Lakers. So I wanted to talk about this, and I like how we're doing this. We'll continue this each week till the season starts, and just pick some random teams. We're not always going to talk about Atlanta or, you know, some of the real hot teams. But for me, the Lakers, Woods. And if you want to maybe chuck that, yeah, you've got that up there. Thank you for that. So the Lakers, and maybe we'll start with that, right? So my first thought when I was looking at some burning questions for the Lakers is, do they have enough depth? Honestly, looking through the depth on this, it certainly stands out a bit better than what we saw with that Charlotte team. But I don't know, like your backup guards, Gabe Vincent and Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart has not been good for a couple of seasons now. So that's one part that worries me. Jack LaRavia, I don't mind him.
like
you know,
him.
started the year with Memphis last year and finished off with the Kings. He's a decent player. Jared Vanderbilt, one of the angriest players in the NBA. He'll come out and play some defense and get in a scuffle pretty much every game. And Jackson Hayes, I don't mind that two-headed, you know, monster at the center combination with DeAndre Ayton and Jackson Hayes there. What's your thoughts on that depth? And if we're talking other guys, you've still got Connect Four.
Maxi Kleber.
You've got Bronny James. I've heard of that guy. So yeah, what are your thoughts on the depth?
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, they're still a middling team. I can't see them, you know, making too much noise. Maybe second round in the playoffs, perhaps. Right? It's Marcus Smart. He hasn't been good since Boston. Right?
Yeah, pretty much right.
Jake LaRavia, I like him a lot. I like what he was doing in Memphis. He jumped around. He went to Sacramento, I think, for a bit last year, right? So he's great. And Maxi Kleber, that's one guy who I think will contribute. He might actually play a lot more than we think. He might not be the third power forward on that depth chart. So I think he's a veteran with experience. Could play a little bit more, but yeah.
I mean, I agree with what you're saying, and maybe a second round chance here. I think it is one of those things you get to the playoffs and you've got someone like Luka, and maybe that's a good segue for my next one there, right? So, you know, do you think with a healthy and fit Luka that they do have a bit more of a chance on what you're saying there? So, you know, obviously last year he came over in that shocking trade that we first learned at the Kings game last season. We still sort of can't believe. You know, he looks in great shape at the moment. He was really good in Eurobasket. Probably the best shape we've ever seen him coming into a season. And I'm not going to give someone a pat on the back for that. You're getting paid millions of dollars and you should come in shape. But, you know, he seems to have settled into the city well. They seem to like him. I think LeBron's, you know, handed over the keys now. LeBron knows it's his team, which I think is a pretty good step there. And LeBron's pretty realistic. You know, he's an older guy and you know, Luka's the young stud on the team, or the youngest stud. I think he's probably 27 or something now. But, look, do you think if Luka has this potential MVP season that some people are saying, are they a genuine chance? Can they be better than what you were saying as a second round pick?
It's possible, man. When you got talent like that on the court, right? He didn't have a preseason with LeBron last year. By all reports, he's come into this season as fit as he's ever been, right? And we're going to see a different Luka. So let's just see what the first 10, 15 games show us about the cohesion, how they're playing together as a unit. But it's highly possible that if all the things line up and they're playing great at that time of the year, that they could make a deeper run. But I would say around a second round team, they look like to me at the moment. Right?
Especially in a tough West, I agree. Look, I like that starting five. I think it's a bit of a redemption season for DeAndre Ayton. He's probably got a lot to prove, but I like him in that combination there. I think if you can keep him motivated and his off-court stuff is under control, I think he should be pretty handy. We know what you're getting from Austin Reeves. He's a really solid player there. And look, Rui Hachimura is, you know, probably the weak link in that starting five there, but they do have some depth at that position with guys like LaRavia and even Dalton Connect, who is probably a little bit overrated given that he plays for the Lakers, and I've mentioned that for years. He played with the Lakers and become a household name, but I still think he's pretty decent there. So, well, I guess my last one with the burning questions, Woods. Thanks for showing that depth chart as well and doing that preparation. I appreciate that. It's LeBron James. We had to talk about LeBron James. We'll be talking about the Lakers. So he's turning 41 in December, LeBron James. What can we expect from him? That's probably my burning question, right? So I gave away what I said before. I think he's probably ready, or he has handed over those keys to Luka now. I think he wants to, continue his legacy there. We've done all this, will he play more seasons? I think he's probably got a couple more seasons there. But what are your thoughts on LeBron? Are you putting a lot of trust in a 41-year-old guy that, is towards the tail end of his career, but still an amazing player?
Yeah, we've seen over the last few years, he's ageless. He's still playing well at that age, which is incredible. As you mentioned, he's turning 41 in December. But what's been good for him is late in his career, he's been granted the opportunity to play with Luka, which has lighted a little bit more of a fire in his belly. I'm going to be a little bit of a mentor to Luka, who's a very similar player to him as well, right? There's a lot Luka is going to take from LeBron in these few years they play together. So yeah, just take a bit more of a backseat. As you said, he's handed over the keys to Luka. Play more of a mentor role. Be there to support Luka, Austin, and the others. So.
Mate, hearing Luka and LeBron, then have you seen those? And I'll say lookalikes, the quotations they have in the Philippines. There's a Luka, a LeBron, and a Steph Curry. You must have seen those on social media, isn't that right?
Yeah, I've seen them. Yeah,
That cracks me up. For those who haven't seen it, look, the Steph Curry one, I'm assuming I think you call them little people these days. He's this tiny little guy. The Luka one is just ridiculous. It's just some white guy with a rounded haircut, and the LeBron guy's a pretty big sort of guy. But every time that pops up on my feeds, it basically makes me laugh out loud. But these guys are getting paid doing public appearances all around the country in the Philippines and stuff. So shout out to those guys. But no, I appreciate that, Woods. Look, we'll pick a team next week, and I think quite different teams with different expectations going into the season in the Charlotte Hornets and the LA Lakers. But
definitely.
Yeah, if anyone's got any feedback, hit us up on socials and tell us what you think of these teams. But no, that was fun to do that, and it's just getting me extra excited now for the NBA. It's not long.
Too,
Once we're only just a week and a little bit off from October, right? And then you can basically say, look, it's the next couple of weeks. So yeah, can't wait, and obviously really looking forward to see these mighty Hawks this year. So
absolutely.
All right, well, we've got a bit of NBL to go over. And look, we are going to recap round one and give a bit of a round two preview. But it's that time, Woods. We've done this every season. We've been doing this show now. We do our predictions, right? And unlike other shows and other places like that, we'll do our predictions. We will also come back at the end of the season and own up to them. So, if you pick the team to win and they come last or something, we will talk about it and we'll give each other some stick about it as well. So,
absolutely.
I'll go through these sort of categories one by one. We've sort of kept it pretty traditional with the way we normally do this, but and look, you don't know my picks, I don't know your picks, so this is going to be pretty interesting. So, in fact, I'm even going to write them down. So I've got a little box here. But who you got for MVP this year?
Bryce Cotton.
Okay. Probably don't need to say too much more about that. I know you were pressing his game yesterday. Maybe it was sour grapes for me not picking Bryce Cotton, but I've gone your boy, Xavier Cooks. I'm expecting a really big season for him this year. I think the Kings are going to be better than what some people, including big Kings fans, are thinking there. So Cooks for me. Two former winners of the award there as well, so we haven't gone too far out. If you had to give a second choice, and I'm not going to do this for each award, but if you had to give a second choice, who would you have for that?
Xavier Cooks.
Okay. All right, I'll go Cotton. Keep it simple. All right, nice one. So all NBL. So we know this is a positionless award now. So essentially, you could have 5 point guards if you want. But who have you got for the all NBL?
Obviously, gone the traditional route. Kendrick Davis at the point guard position, right?
Yeah.
Bryce Cotton at the shooting guard position.
Mm-hmm.
Milton Doyle at small forward. We've seen last couple of games, and he's playing for a new club, and he's going to be a leader on that team. I think Melbourne's going to be right up there. Xavier Cooks at the 4.
Yeah.
And Joe Luala-Chul at the 5.
Interesting, yeah. Geez, I think they're all pretty good picks. I'm a little bit surprised about the Doyle one, but you're right. Look, if they have a good season, they're 2-0 Melbourne. They look pretty good this weekend. So, yeah, not a bad prediction. I had 2 different picks for you there. So, instead of Doyle, maybe a little bit of favouritism because he's one of my boys, but Jack McVeigh. Didn't love maybe the way he looked in the first game, but the team was atrocious in that game. So, I've got McVeigh at the 3. I'm going to sort of be a bit cheeky with the positions and have Cooks at the 5. And have Christian Doolittle at the 4. Had to get a wildcat in there. We've both got a wildcat in with both. Well, you've got 2 Kings actually, don't you? So, man, if you've got 2 guys and Kings guys in your all NBL team like I do, well, surely you must be high on this team, right? They're not going to have 2 all NBL guys and not be top 4.
Yeah, it's a strong league, man.
We'll get to that soon, right? Well, we're going to go to grand final winner next. Is it bad? I'll be totally honest with this. I've changed this twice over the last 3 days. So, I'm still locking it in now. You go first because I'm still deciding mine. Grand final
Melbourne
winner.
to win versus Perth.
Okay, so United to beat Perth. All right, I'm going to say Sydney to beat United.
What?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I know, and I'll tell you the reasons for that, Woods. I was going to say Perth to win, right? watching that game on the weekend, we don't like to overreact just from one game, but it comes back to what I thought. I think we needed to get a true one. I don't think Mason Jones is a true one. I think he's a combo guy, potentially a shooting guard that also plays a little bit of point guard as well. So that part worries me a little bit like that. But I like this Kings team, and who knows, they could make some changes in this season as well, and maybe make a couple of moves there. So, and we'll see how we go. As my cat's literally trying to break down the door right now, Wood. So apologies if there's any noise coming through. She's hungry and there's no one else home, but. Yeah, so as I said, I've changed it a bit around. While we're talking about Adelaide, Woods, let's interrupt these predictions. Tell me what news has just basically come out in the last hour or so. What are you hearing about Montrezl Harrell?
So Montrezl Harrell and Adelaide are about to part ways.
Wow.
Okay, so
wow.
We're not beating the coach Trez anymore. Then you didn't find another coach for
us.
What's
going on with that? That doesn't age well, is it?
Okay, so what's basically happened is this. We know Trez loves to smoke the peace pipe, right? He was in China. He's obviously got busted for smoking weed or whatever, some recreational drug I'm hearing, right? Then what happened was he left China and went to play in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico doesn't fall under the FIBA umbrella. So any of the rules that apply to China or Australia that do fall under the FIBA umbrella don't fall under in Puerto Rico. So he went off, played 3 months in Puerto Rico by all reports, come here, and now China want to pursue it further because he's going to be playing in a FIBA, sanctioned tournament now in the NBL, right? Yeah. My question is, why is this all just coming out now?
I was thinking the same thing. How has this been kind of swept under the rug? There's been, like you said, the beat Montrezl Harrell and Supercoach. He's been, in all these marketing campaigns, he's one of the first faces you see and everything else like that. I'm shocked, to be honest, and that's literally just broke, like we're recording on, 5:45 on Monday the 22nd. That's literally just broke that they're likely to part ways with him. That's huge, isn't it? They've got their first, NBL game this season. They didn't play last week, obviously, with the Euro game there, but this is massive, right? I mean, I know we're hijacking our predictions there, but how does this impact Adelaide? Now, obviously, they'll need to replace him, plus they've still probably got another import spot that they can maybe use, but this is a massive blow for them. They seem to be cursed with some bad luck on this team, don't they?
Yeah, but I don't think it's as bad as you think, because, Isaac Humphries is going to be a bit of a surplus of the league with both Harrell and Cheatham there, right? So he's going to be more prominent in the offense now. And with all the stuff that comes with Montrez, last year as well, there was all this off-court stuff, maybe not completely his fault, but it takes away distractions from the team. All this stuff isn't needed, so I think it's best that they do part ways. Yeah. But I think the FIBA needs. I mean, I wonder what this is, right? But I mean, the NBA have got a rule: cannabis is allowed right now. Is the FIBA going to look at that? Like, I want to know more about this. What was he busted for starters, right? Yeah. And then secondly, why has it taken 3 months for the CBA, the Chinese Basketball Association, to take action on this, right? So he's landed in Australia, and all of a sudden they want to pursue a ban, which is reportedly going to be around 6 months from what I'm hearing, right? Yeah.
Huge developing story, so we'll certainly keep a close eye on that. But yeah, that's made a massive impact, probably in a few of our predictions here as well. But all right, thanks for that little update, Wood. So back to our regularly scheduled program. So so the semi-finals, maybe I'll start with that. So I've shifted this around a little bit, but I'm going to have the Kings beating Adelaide, and then I'm going to have United beating Perth, and as I said, Kings to beat United in the grand final. What do you got for your semis?
Ooh, if I've got Melbourne and Perth in the finals, then I've got Melbourne versus Tasmania and Perth versus Illawarra. Yeah.
Ooh, Tasmania and Perth, Illawarra. Okay, interesting. So you are hating on your Kings.
Yeah.
This is that reverse psychology thing.
Just the lack of big man depth, man, is going to come to the fore against the likes of Joel Lualachul, and I think anyway. Well,
top 10 in order. I'm going to have to change mine a little bit on the fly with some of this news, but give me your top 10. Maybe start off from the bottom and we'll see how we match there.
Cairns, number 10. I'm going number 10.
Yep. Okay, we'll do it one by one then. So you got Cairns at 10. I've got New Zealand at 10. I'm worried about this New Zealand Breakers team. I really am. Cairns at 10. Wow, that's big.
Okay, you tell me about New Zealand in a second. The reason I've got Cairns at 10 is we saw on the weekend they lost Ashton Higgins, their point guard, on the eve of the season. What did I say on the podcast last week? I said a lot of these teams have had a point guard for preseason, right? Yeah. Cairns haven't, and you could see that Marcus Lee was bringing the ball up the court. Cody Statman was bringing the ball. They didn't even have a point guard on the floor. They looked a little bit better when Adnan or Barker took the floor. And then I did some investigation on Andrew Andrews. He's a shooting guard who's never averaged more than 4.5 assists a game throughout his college or professional career, right? They do not have a floor general. Guys like McVeigh need to get the ball in positions that they like it, right?
It seems harsh, Woods, but hey, I like it. I like your prediction there. But
and New Zealand, tell me. Yeah, you got them at 10.
Yeah, so I got New Zealand last. As I said, just wasn't impressed with them. I don't like some of the... they've got some of these Kiwi guys going home. I don't think any of those three guys are really turning the needle too much there. I think few question marks with maybe one or two of their imports there. So yeah, I've got some concerns about them. Also, body language in those first few games wasn't great. Again, it's only the start of the round, but wasn't too impressed with that. So, who have you got for 9th place?
New Zealand. Parker Jackson Cartwright's got a serious rib injury by all reports. He's not 100% fit. Big concern because they're so invested in him, right?
Yeah. Okay, for 9th place, I've gone Cairns. So, look, I've definitely dropped them a little bit. I think I definitely agree with some of your concerns there. I probably would have had them around that 6th or 7th mark. We probably spoke about that in our predictions as well. That's where we're at with them. But I think the Wardenberg, blow is huge for them, and the issues with potential imports and that there. So yeah, I'll go Cairns at 9. Who you got for 8?
I've got Brisbane at 8.
So do I. Okay, so that's the first one we match on there. I don't think that's going to be a bad eighth place, right? I think they've got some good pieces there. They were pretty good in that win on the weekend. But this shows you how tough this competition is this year, right?
Yep, for sure. And Matt McQuaid was saying, look, is Casey Prather was that just 1 year, or is he gonna come back at 35 and be able to contribute like he did last season?
Yeah.
In a small sample size so far, man, he's looking good, right? Yeah.
Okay, 7th place for me, a team that I don't want to get too carried away with one game, but maybe they'll be Phoenix.
Yep, I got South East Melbourne at 7 as well, Robbie.
Okay, so we've got a couple of matches there. Do you think maybe if we did this a week ago, you might have had them a little bit lower?
Yeah, definitely. Watching John Brown III and the ability to impact the game from the defensive end has really moved that needle for me. And they're well coached. Maldonado coming off the bench as well, man. He was really impressive, right? So yeah, I think they're going to be very competitive. And what John Brown III's got, he's got Sobe, he's got others who are not defensively inclined players to really commit on the defensive end. So that's for sure. Yeah.
I'm loving this old Foxhole guy for South East Melbourne. This guy comes on, thinks he's the best player on the court, and a lot of times he's playing like a shout out to that guy. He's got a really
Creed, man.
Future. Yeah. All right, so we're getting into that top 6 now in the play-in positions there. 6th place.
In 6th place, I've got Sydney.
Wow. That's okay. Well, I've got Tassie in that spot, so we already know you've got Tassie in your top 4, and I've got Kings in my top 4, so a little bit different there. 5th way, I've got Illawarra. Maybe it feels a little bit disrespectful for the defending champions there. I think these other teams are going to be stronger. Depending on this Adelaide situation, I maybe could have them moving up one spot, but as of right now, we're not going to sort of hold back. I've got Illawarra coming 5th. Who you got there?
I've got Adelaide.
Okay. Adelaide dropping out of the 4. Yeah, fair enough.
And I've got to admit, I swapped Illawarra and Adelaide from 4 to 5, just on the recent,
Yeah. Well, I've got Adelaide at 4. So I've got them just sort of sneaking in there. Look, that's really a TBC at the moment, isn't it? I'm still sort of getting my head around this Trez news there, which is a shame for the league, isn't it? Missing him. He was a great sort of, character for the league. I know he wasn't everyone's cup of tea, but I just wanted to see him and Bryce Cotton. That would have been awesome. But yeah, who you got at 4?
I've got at 4 Illawarra.
Okay, 3. And I have a feeling you may be the same.
No, I've got Tasmania at 3.
Oh, Tasmania. Sort of put this table together, maybe up on social something. That's a pretty big difference with Tassie there. So what, you're high on these 3?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And just watching them play in these first 2 games alongside those 2 Australians, and they've got depth there as well. So Majok Dang and whatnot, they look good. They look good, man. So I got them as 3rd. Yeah.
All right, we'll go to the 1, 2. I'll just do it in order like that. So I've got United first, Sydney 2nd. Who you got for your top 2?
I've got Perth 2nd and Melbourne 1st.
Okay. Are you legit Sydney?
Yeah.
So would you say? Well, actually, we'll go to this next one. What's your wins prediction then? So I believe they're playing 32 games this season. How many games are you picking the Kings to win?
18.
18 and finishing 6th.
20 maybe. 18 to 20 I've got, right? You'll still get, if you get 20 wins, will you become 6th? You could, yeah?
So you think they're going to go 20 and 12 and finish
20
6th?
and 13. 20 and 13, sorry. Yeah.
So it's 33 games, is it? Is that what we're confirming?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I feel
or
like
18 and 15.
That's a number than that. Not than you. That seems like 506. So I guess banking on that, you're picking a lot of teams to have really low records, like maybe a couple of 10 wins based on that. All right. I'm going to say, so 33, I had 32, so 33, I'm going to see 19 and 14 for the Kings for me. So it's interesting. I've got them at 19 and 14 and coming second. You've got them at 20 and 13 and coming sixth. So we'll see.
Yeah, I actually have
One
them
of
at
us will probably have
them at 18 and 15, man. Sorry.
18 and 15.
Yep, my bad.
Okay, so 19 and 13 for me. What about Mighty Wildcats? Where you got them?
I've got them at 24 and 9.
Okay, I've got them at 22 and 11. So 22 and 11. So I guess we're a bit similar to them. Geez, 24 and 9. I'll be happy if they did have a season like that. That's a huge season. So, all right, I'll take that. All right, team with the worst record covered that. You think Cairns and I think New Zealand. We'll stick with those.
Yep.
Okay. Well, this one, we don't know what the actual award is. Is it the Rookie of the Year? Is it the Next Generation Award? Is it the Samson Froling Medal? We don't know what it is, but the best first-year player, I tip my hat before that one. Owen Foxwell for me. I think you win this one in a canter.
Yeah, I mean, I've said Foxwell or Rain Smith, one of the two, right? Rain Smith from Cairns is a chance.
Looked pretty impressive in that first game, I've got to say.
Very impressive,
the few sort of bright lights for Cairns there. All right, Sixth Man of the Year. I thought this was a really tough one, given that we haven't seen all the teams. We don't know full rotations. I've got Flynn Cameron. I think he's much going to be starting. So that's who I've got at the moment, Flynn Cameron. I imagine him being the sixth man for them. But who you got for that one?
Well, you mentioned Owen Foxwell starting for SEM, which means Hunter Maldonado is going to be coming off the bench for this season, right? And playing that combo guard. So I've got Hunter Maldonado as my sixth man of the year.
Okay. It's not a bad one. Yeah, not a bad one. Most improved player. I'm going to keep it someone that we've spoken about already on this show. Much improved player. Someone I got to commentate and meet last year. I'm going Jalen Galloway for this one.
Ooh, okay. I got Statman, bro. Statman.
That's the Statman. Yeah, that's not a bad one. He'll certainly get some opportunity on Saturday Cairns, won't he? So,
for sure.
Could you see Galloway winning it? Do you think that's a decent prediction?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Or Owen Foxwell even, right?
Yeah. All right, Defensive Player of the Year. I'm going JaVale McGee. I think I read a prediction yesterday. They might have been Fox Sports preview there. They had him as averaging 1.9 blocks. I read that. I'm like, you're kidding, right? I could see him averaging 3 to 4 blocks. That was the first thing I thought. Maybe I'll be right, I'll be wrong. But I've got JaVale McGee as Defensive Player of the Year. Who you got for that?
I've got John Brown III, man.
Yeah, not a bad pick. He had a lot of steals, didn't he, in that game on the weekend. So, all right, two more left. So we've got Coach of the Year. I got John Riley on this one. I don't know. I feel like that he might get a bit more credit if they win this year. I don't know. I could be way off on that one, John Riley. I know a lot of people aren't high on him, but who you got for Coach of the Year?
I got Dean Vickerman, man. Like, I think Melbourne is going to be great. It goes in line with my thinking that Melbourne's going to be first and really do well this year.
Yeah. All right, nice. And then we've got this usual one. I know we're both going to pick each other, but who finishes higher out? NBL Supercoach. I think you had a better first week than me. We both beat potentially that former Adelaide 36 player, so it wasn't too hard to beat him. But I guess I'll say myself and you'll say yourself, right?
Yeah, whatever. But who's going to replace Trez as beating the coach? That's the question.
What are they going to do? What a disaster, right? Imagine they suddenly say, look, we're actually going to, everyone can start at round 2, because that's a bit of a marketing PR disaster there, isn't it?
Yeah. It's got to beat someone else. They've got to get someone else to do it. Yeah.
Pretty much. All right, I appreciate that, Woods. And look, I know we're going pretty long already. We've had a lot to talk about. Let's do a quick little recap of round 1 and a quick preview of round 2 to round out the NBL coverage here. There's been so much to talk about this week, hasn't there?
Yeah, man. There we go.
All right, so look, maybe before we go into round 2, was there anything just give me one thing maybe that stood out for you in round 1? I'll start off. Maybe it was Melbourne just getting that really good start. Look, people were really talking him up, but to have a couple of good wins there, I think they were tested in that road win. But that game yesterday against Cairns, they destroyed him in that game. So Melbourne, their imports are looking good. They've got some decent bench depth there. So maybe Melbourne were the standout for me. What's something that stood out for you?
Tasmania, man, they really impressed me, and I said, the Bryce Hamilton all NBL first team conversation is a bit premature. The guy put up 24 and 26 in his first 2 games. He's got poise. He seems like someone that loves coming to work every day. So yeah, really impressed, not only with Bryce Hamilton, but with the way Tasmania turned up, right?
Hey, do you cringe like I do when you see Will Magnay take a free throw?
Yes. Not as much
Mate,
as I
they're
cringe
not even
when I see
close.
Xavier take one.
Yeah, the first one he took in a one possession, barely grazed the ring. The second one nearly put a hole on the backboard. Man, he's got a lot of work to shooting, right? And they've given him that license to jack up a few threes now. His threes don't look too bad, but yeah, there's a lot of work here, and that could cost him games if he's not going to sort of work in that game. You look at a big guy like Tyrell Harrison Woods, big unit there. His free throws are beautiful. He's got a really nice
Yeah, absolutely.
stroke there, so maybe that's something fun. Well, let's get into this round two. Do you want to maybe go through the game and we'll give some thoughts?
All right, so we've got the throwdown on September 25th on Thursday night, I think it is. Yep, Melbourne and Southeast Melbourne. Who you got?
This round at my place, right? You're coming around for the end of season Thursday?
I am. I'm coming back from Brisbane, so I'm going to come straight from the airport to your place. Right?
Sounds good. Commitment. Who are you looking for that one?
United. Just
Yeah, it's got United, but
really
hopefully that'll be a
round.
packed house there, and always good to see the throwdowns. Yeah, nice.
All right, then we've got the Sunshine Stoush on September 26th. Cairns versus Brisbane. Who you got?
Still a poor name. I'll say Brisbane. Yeah, they were maybe someone that we were high on early on, and then we sort of dropped off a little bit after their blitz performance. But I like some of the players in this team. Hopefully the Mitch Norton news isn't bad, because he looked in a pretty bad way when it went off. I don't think there's been any announcements yet, but one that just came out. Man, that guy's been hitting the gym since he's been injured, hasn't he? He's a big boy there. So he's someone that I like his defense there. And
Yeah, one guy that we're not talking about, all defensive player of the year, Chops. He's a guy that's going to be crucial to Brisbane's success. So yeah, really good to see him healthy and looking really fit, as you mentioned. Okay, New Zealand versus Perth. So Perth are going across the Tasman, right?
Feels like the internet's getting a bit sketchy. Woods, this is on Netflix or what's going on? Okay.
It's your side.
Yeah, look, I've got to say Perth. They can't go 0-2. It's obviously a pretty sizable road trip there, and New Zealand will be really hungry for a win too. But yeah, I think Perth will have enough, and I think we'll see a bounce back from Dylan Windler after on Saturday night.
Nice, thanks, Robbie. Okay, so let's move on. Illawarra versus Tasmania on September 27th.
It's been forward to see that one. Illawarra, there could be a little bit if it's playing those 3 games in Singapore and they sort of spread out the say the champs, they're down on their home court, seeing that flag, banner and all those things. So yeah, Hawks and me. Who you got?
Yeah, I think maybe Tasmania, because they look really good on the weekend. Illawarra have obviously come not with the best preparation. They might just snatch one from them there, right? All right, Sydney versus Cairns. I'll be going to this one, as you mentioned.
Yeah, it's that Sunday afternoon, right? Doubleheader on Sunday. Yeah, got to say Sydney for that one. I think Cairns will be really wanting to put in a better effort than they did yesterday.
Yeah, likewise, I'd say Sydney. And then finally Adelaide versus Brisbane to finish off the round. As you said, doubleheader on Sunday.
I mean, I think I've got to say Adelaide, right? But I wonder if all this turmoil really impacting with what's going on with that. But maybe the team sort of, sticks together and they do get that first up home win there. But that should be a pretty decent game to watch. So I think it's Brisbane and Cairns are the only teams on doubles this week. So if for those that are playing, beat the whatever the player is on Supercoach, they're the teams you want to get in your fantasy teams.
Okay,
nice.
Cool. Yeah. Right, thanks, Robbie.
All right. Appreciate that, Woods. All right, we'll finish off with a quick true-false. All right. It is a failure from the NBL having 3 teams not playing in the opening round. True or false?
True, but I don't think it's completely the NBL's fault. It's about scheduling, right? When can you get these European teams to play? Every year, if they want to put a team in this World Club Challenge, this FIBA Continental Cup or whatever, they've got to take that into account when doing scheduling. So I'd say true, but maybe out of their control.
Yeah, it's probably fair what you said. I just didn't like it though. The first round having 3 teams and 3 really teams not playing, and yet there were still games on, ESPN they were playing, international teams. It just seemed a bit weird. I don't know why they couldn't have worked that out better. But anyway, we're going to see the 2 Melbourne teams not playing in a week or so as well when they've got these NBA, ex-NBL games. Yep. So, all right, we agree with that. True or false, the big NBL this season are the best we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, true. Absolutely.
It's a big true, isn't it, this one?
Yeah, man.
I mean, Jesse Edwards, and you've got your Isaac Humphries, your Tyrell Harrison, your Xavier Cooks, Will Magnay. Of course, yeah, of course. Yeah, no, there's a lot of good big guys in the league. It's good to see there. All right, finish off with a couple of NBA ones there. So if the Philadelphia 76ers had better luck with injury this season last season they won 24. So a healthy Philadelphia team could win 20 more games than last year. True or false?
True. Where's Joel at the moment? Can you tell me?
He's practicing apparently. He's made strides from his injury there, but I'm still not sure that we'll see him on opening round, and Paul George either. So it's a bit of a worry. Tyrese Maxey better have a big season there, but it's a what if, isn't it, this one?
Yeah.
All right, cool. And last one. Our Atlanta Hawks are a genuine top 4 chance in the East this season.
True, no doubt.
Yeah, and it's a chance. We're not saying they're definitely going to make it, but I think when you look at some of the, the injuries in the East, we know Boston's not going to be as good. We know Milwaukee's, an older team that's maybe not going to be as good. I don't see any reason why they can't. I don't want to put too much pressure and say they're going to be better than that, but I think they'd be wanting to finish top 4, right? And finally getting rut that they've been in for what seems like about 5 years in a row now. So, all right, appreciate that, Woods. It's been a great show. As I said, plenty to talk about, and we'll be saying the same every week. NBA's getting close, the NBL's ramping up, and things to talk about. Really fun today. Just a reminder, as I mentioned at the start of the show, please make sure you like, rate, and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. Be followed on X at Throwback Hoops. Woods will get these nice jerseys, a lovely Jose Calderon, bit of Dyson, also some David Johnson PSA up there. Instagram throwback.hoops, email address throwbackhoopspodcast@gmail.com. Just a reminder on Patreon, as we always say, if you wanted to pledge a couple there, we'd really appreciate that. Over to you, Woods. Any final thoughts? Anything you're looking forward to in the next week in the basketball world?
Looking forward to watching the Kings play their first official game of the season, right? So.
Who's your first Kings jersey going to be? You're going to get a Kendrick Davis? You're going to get a Delhi? It'll be a Delhi, won't it?
Delhi.
All right. Did you get a Delhi United jersey?
No.
No, okay, interesting. I know you're a big Delhi fan and have been from way back. So, looking forward to that one. It won't be too long before I join you for a game. Wildcats are in town, maybe about mid-October. So, really looking forward to go out with the family as we do a bit of a tradition each year. And will be strange not seeing Bryce, but looking forward to it. But yeah, really enjoyed it, Woods. Thanks for all your efforts this week. We'll do it all again next week. It's a big peace out from the Throwback Hoops group.